Today, I'd like to do my best for the court. I'd like to talk about happiness. Happiness! They're like, oh Lord, how much coffee did you drink this morning? Happiness! I'm gonna do that again. I don't know. Let me know when it bothers you. Be happy. Happy. That's why we're here. You're supposed to be happy. Not all this sadness and depression and craziness. I have so many depressed friends. I don't know what to do. I'm so sick. I'm going to talk about Bhutan today. Bhutan! Gross domestic happiness. Or wait a minute, no. It's gross national happiness. It's this crazy psychotic idea that human beings should be happy. That their government should work to try to make their lives better. That should be the main motivation of a governing body, governing humans, picked by humans. Happy! Versus GDP. Oh, GDP stands for a lot of things. Oh, stands for a lot of things. Not good things. Good morning, everybody. GDP. How's everybody doing this morning? Y'all doing good? Oh, I gotta, hold on, let me share this. I get the comments there. I'm already running my mouth. How y'all doing this morning? Good morning, Heaven and Tina and John. In the house already. No doom and gloom. No doom and gloom any day, Tina. No doom and gloom. No doom and gloom. Turn off the news and you'll be much happier. Isn't that funny how that works out, Stacy? You just turn it on, you click. Turn off the boob tube and you don't act like a boob. That's the funniest thing. We used to call it the boob tube. Although back then you couldn't have no boobs on that tube. Oh, hell no. You gotta look at the serious column for that. Well, you know what? Hey, but you know what? If boobs on the tube make you happy, then do that. Do that, boo. Do the boo-boo. But I'm just saying, we need to talk about Bhutan today. We need to talk about gross domestic happiness. And I know as soon as you start talking about Bhutan and a government that actually works for its people, that tries to reduce the suicide rate, that doesn't attach an index for the nation to death, destruction, murder, and rape, and fill in the coffers of the greatest betters among us. They always say, well, Bhutan's not doing good. Where the Bhutan haters? Bhutan haters! I'm already talking about Bhutan. Do y'all even know what Bhutan is? Am I running my mouth? The Bhutan haters gonna show up. Because as soon as you start talking about, well, all right, so Bhutan real quickly, they moved toward democracy. I think we talked about them a long time ago. The king magically out the blue grew a heart. Unlike any of your damn politicians, any of your damn 20, grew a heart and decided we need to have a society based in all the things that Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad and natural law taught, where we just take care of each other. And so Bhutan, because they don't have a gross domestic product indexed, they have a gross national happiness index where they actually go around and look at things like the suicide rate. They look around and find out, are people happy? Are they sad? If they're sad and depressed like Americans on 60% of the countries on antidepressants, they change. They make some changes. They don't flip to 2020. They look at their laws and try to figure out, why aren't the people happy? We are the people. We serve the people. We need the people to be happy. So as soon as you mention Bhutan, the Bhutan haters show up. Bhutan ain't doing good. They should be like us. They should be survival of the fittest. What is a GDP anyway? What is a GDP anyway? Gross domestic product. My problem with a gross domestic product is it has no relationship at all to anything human. It has no relationship at all to anything sentient, anything moral, anything ethical, anything common damn sense. It's just a number. Gross domestic product. This is how you can get a nation that makes money on the murder of people. This is how you can get a nation that makes money on violence, gross domestic violence. I don't like gross domestic product. I think it's stupid. I think if we develop something and we're human beings, we need to develop something that helps us and our neighbors. The other thing, anytime I start talking about gross domestic happiness, people say, that's not possible. It's just not logical. I challenge you. You already probably have a gross domestic happiness running in your life right now. Are you happily married? Be careful how you answer that question. My videos are public. Are you happy in your marriage? Some of y'all can't talk. Some of y'all not supposed to say nothing, right? You're supposed to sit back there and say nothing. Just go 1-800-FLIES.com and order some roses or something. What is courtship? What is marriage? What is a happy relationship? What is a happy marriage? What is a happy family if it's not based in the happiness of the other people and how their lives are blessed that you are in it? That's what it is. That's how it gets to a place where a man decides, you know what? I could live with this woman for life. My goodness, I was already happy. Then I met this woman. Woo! I could die with this woman, right? And same thing with a man, like, oh my goodness, they make men like this still? Take off their jacket, lay it down over the waters, so I can get into the car, open the door. You try to make people happy. They want to be around you. Oh, they like you. That's why I think we don't look at things the right way. We got gross domestic happiness all throughout. They're called successful marriages. They're called successful families. So you're already practicing it. You just practice it selectively. You only practice it for the people close to you. See, the people you don't know, you don't have to practice gross domestic. So is it logical? It's extremely logical because we all do it. Most of us. Most of us. I think our biggest problem is we can't figure out that we need to marry the world. We need to be engaged to the world and with the world and all the people of the world. That's what I'm thinking. I'm a happy person single. That's right, Christine. But you're a happy person because why? You have an environment that makes you happy. You've done things in your life that brought about some happiness. You had vehicles for you happy. We can be there to be a blessing in other people's lives, or we can be there to be a nightmare. And y'all know me, I'm not on the capitalism boat. I'm not on the socialism boat. I'm not on any boats that psychopaths want to captain. If a psychopath wants to be the captain of it, there's something wrong with the damn boat. So I like gross domestic happiness. I want to we can go listen to it explained for a minute. If y'all aren't aware, I think I did. We did a video about gross domestic happiness a while back. See if I can find a good definition of this for you. I go to Wikipedia and look at that. I'm not sure I should do that. I don't want to go to Wikipedia. I don't. I try to stay off of websites that I don't believe in. Things. I try not to build up power into things I don't think are on the up and up. I don't think Wikipedia is on the up and up. It's probably why I don't watch politicians. I have to be honest with you. I haven't watched 2 minutes of any of your politicians say anything at all this year. Not even 2 minutes. I can't tolerate it beyond 2 minutes. If I watch like news shorts, clips from other countries, I get a little clip of what they say. I don't want to support them. I don't want them to know that I watch them, right? Because that's how TV works, and that's how they broke us to a degree, is we tune in, whether we like it or we don't like it. And what does a TV do? What do these media companies need to do? They need to sell advertisement. So if we tune in, then they know that they should show more of that because they can sell more advertisements. So they continue to show more of the things that we watch, whether we like them or not. So I can't watch Bernie. I don't watch Trump. I don't watch anything Democrats nor Republicans got to say ever. I try to get a little bit of it, then I'm gone. I don't want them to make any money on the app because that's a vote. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree or not. And that's why Trump won, if you really ask me. It's because they all tuned in. And so the media showed more of it because everybody tuned in. So whether you like it or not, if you are engaged with it, you're going to promote it. So I like gross domestic happiness. Gross domestic happiness, I think it's a thing. I think everybody does it. And I think that we really should look at moving away from gross domestic product. I think we should turn off the television, smell the roses, as Stacy says. Vote for things that matter. Vote for your ecosystem. Vote for your neighbors. Vote for poor people. Vote for Venezuela. Don't vote for gross domestic happiness. I mean, a gross domestic product. Because the product is based in money. And the money's all bloody. The products are all stolen from other countries and made from forced labor. So really, gross domestic product is gross domestic slavery. It's gross domestic violence. It's gross domestic war. It's gross domestic pesticide. It's gross domestic vaccine. It's gross domestic experimenting on the human body. It's gross domestic everything that makes money. It's a bad idea. We live on a planet that doesn't work with elites. Oh, y'all hear about LA? LA banned glyphosate. Can't spray in the Roundup. Can't spray in the Roundup. People can clap. You can be happy if you like. I'm not clapping. I don't clap when people actually do their job. I don't clap. Like I said, you order your food, you go to McDonald's or something. Don't ever go to McDonald's, but if you do, Burger King, wherever you go, you order your food. When the waitress comes to the table and they put the food on your plate, do you clap your hands? Clap your hands, everybody. Everybody, you clap your hands. You gotta get excited, like, yeah, you cooked the fries. Like, no, you're not gonna get that. I'm not clapping for LA. I ain't clapping nothing. I'm just wondering why one city in 400,000 cities, only one seemed to get that spraying a cancerous causing chemical on the bushes and grass that dogs walk on and kids playing and then come in the house is a bad idea. They did their damn job. That's not anything for me to clap for. I don't clap for when people do their job. When you got to work this morning, some of y'all had slavery this morning. When you got to forced slavery work this morning, they clap when you walk through the door. Like, oh, Tina said, Tina made it to work. Tina, oh, you just doing so good, girl. I ain't clapping. Oh Lord, what the hell are you talking about? All right, we can't go there. All right, here we go. Voting in the polls is not enough. Stay vigilant. Vote with your dollars. Well, yeah, Brother Rod, I don't believe in voting at all. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a voter. Because voting within itself is a vote for the system, right? Voting within itself is a vote for gross domestic product. Like voting, and I'm not telling people not to vote. Again, I don't do that. I don't tell nobody what to do. Not my place. For me, I look at the same way if I watch a politician talk on television, they're selling ads and that network makes a decision to show more of that politician or more politics because I'm engaged in watching. If I vote, I'm voting for the system. It doesn't really matter if I'm voting Democrats or Republicans or Green Party. I'm still casting my vote. They're still making profit via a form of advertisement income, if you will, that I agree with the system. And I don't agree with murder. I can't. I'm not allowed to. Unfortunately, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe Christ. I don't believe in murder, and I don't believe in killing, and I don't believe in rape, and I don't believe in having a national index that's okay with all of those things as long as it puts more money in the coffers, as long as it makes more product. To me, it's just it's a representation of human labor and violence. Bad idea. So yeah, I'm not a voter. I can't vote for it. Just like I can't vote and watch your politicians talk on television. I can't vote for violence. Voting doesn't mean for the two parties. Right, exactly, Brother Rod. And that's my point. That's exactly my point. Voting is something that you should be doing every day. We all should be doing every single day. All day long, every day, what you vote for. Vote for ecosystems. Vote for each other. Vote for the happiness in your community. Like, think about that. Gross domestic happiness. Taking the principle of what we do in courtship, in marriage, in family. Because you want happy kids. Like, what kind of person doesn't want happy kids? You know how psychopathic that is? What kind of person doesn't want happy neighbors? What kind of person in daycare doesn't want the other kids around to be happy? Happiness is everything. Everything. This is what I kind of think. I think that if you have, in my country, there's something called making ends meet. Making ends. The ends aren't meeting. Y'all familiar with that term, that phrase? Death and life. Water, you know, and your income. Electricity and your income. Your car payment and your income. The house and the income. Where you got kids and like food and life are dependent upon these things. And the ends just, you struggle to make them meet. I think if you live in a society where you have people who can't seem to make the ends of living life meet with their income, I don't think you have a society. And I don't think it's yours. I think you live on a farm, and I think you're being farmed. I think the ends are cattle prods and carrots. That's how they, that's how they get you to walk along. They put blinders on you. They got a cattle prod, and they got carrots to get you to make you move. So I believe in happiness. I mean, who does that to their wife? Like, think, who does that to their husband? Uh-oh. I shouldn't have asked that. Yeah, I guess some of y'all do. Y'all got them carrots. Uh-huh. Did you cut the grass? Did you take the trash out? Because if you didn't do the things I asked you to do, did you fix my car? Did you go put gas in my car? If you didn't do that, maybe I'm not going to give you this carrot. This sweet carrot. Some of y'all base your happiness like you only want other people to be happy if they made you happy. Right? But this is why the scriptures talked about that. They talked about, you know, it's not a thing. It's not anything great to love people that love you. But we utilize those carrots and those cattle prods all too often. All too often. We should be invested in the happiness of everybody on this planet. Everywhere. To me, that's when all this nonsense stops. When our index, we get up in the morning, you look at your husband, look at your wife, I don't know, your boyfriend and your kids, and you decide that I'm gonna do some things today to try to make their lives happier. You have a good marriage. You have a decent family. You have a decent community when you do that with your neighbors. You have a decent country when you do that with everybody in it, unselectively. You have an amazing world when you have human beings that are evolved enough to make happy the index of why they live their life. Imagine if you had a government that just called you up in the morning. Who was that? Brother Chris? Somebody came in, Chris came in the house. I don't know if you male or female. I don't know. There's different Chris's nowadays. Just call Chris up like, Chris. Good. Hi, Chris. Chris like, hello. Is Chris a man? I don't know if Chris is a man. Hello. Hey, Chris. This is the government. Yeah, what you want?
Are you happy? Are we doing good by you? Is there anything that we need to fix? Is there anything you can't do? Did you wake up this morning just happy? Did you jump out the bed and just run and say, thank God for this government?
See, I think that's how the world should work. I actually do. Because you do that for your wife. Why wouldn't you do that? Well, the happy wives have that done for them, and the happy husbands have that done for them. The happy children have that done for them. Like, I think that's the world we should live in. We can go and listen to an interview where the king, who just decided, you know what, I'm done with this. I just want my people to be happy in Bhutan. From now on, we are going to gauge happiness. And if the people aren't happy, we're going to continue to track that and make changes in our government so the people are happy. Good morning, Ish. Good morning, Maryland. Maryland says, we all know what good relationships require. We learn that in kindergarten. Yeah, we do, Maryland, don't we? We do. And then we unlearn it somehow. Unlearn it. And we go from wanting other people to be happy to robbing them. We go from wanting other people to smile and enjoy life and wanting to be happier than them. And then there's that thing where misery loves company, where if I'm upset and I got to fight and I got a rough time in life and a bad job, and that I want you to have that too. We all learn it from the very beginning. When you're happy and you're surrounded by happy people, good things happen. We manifest things. We're manifestation creatures. People hate you, bad things tend to happen in your life. People love you, good things to happen in your life. And that's how it works. Good morning, Brother Kevin. It takes time to prepare to stop participating in madness one step at a time. It's okay to say thank you when someone does something right. If they clap when I walk through the door, I'll leave. Marilyn, I just picture that Homer Simpson thing, the cartoon where he walks. They take the grandpa. He walks in on Simpsons, takes his hat off, hangs it up, and he just turns right back around, puts his hat right back on, walks right back out. Have y'all seen that? That's what you made me think of just for a minute. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Like we were talking about the other day, how people clap for single parents being parents. Like, no, you're supposed to be a parent. You're supposed to love your children. You're supposed to try to make them happy. You're supposed to show them a beautiful world. We're supposed to try to make our neighbors happy. What if political parties did that? Like, imagine that. What if the Republicans went to the Democrat? It make my mouth feel funny when I just said that. It's just the weirdest thing. I don't know. They say, hey, the Republicans called it. The Democrats answer the phone. Yo, what's up?
Hi, that's the Republicans. Hey, listen, are you guys happy? Have we been making you happy? Is there anything we can do to make you happier?
I don't know. It just hit me. Crazy. It's crazy. But imagine if we were that sentient. I think that's a sentient character. Tell me if you agree or not. I think it is a sentient character to want people around you to be happy. I think it's a psychopathic character to want them to not be happy. I think it's a psychopathic character to want to get a better job than them, to make more income than them, to want to drive a faster car or have a bigger house so you can feel better about yourself than them. I think that's psychopathic. I think the latter is sentient. We don't have to participate in the insanity. We can choose to step out the box, just walk away. We can choose that any day, Stacy. Yes, we can. And I think Marilyn said too. It takes one step at a time. One step. Nobody's saying do it all tomorrow. Just take one step. I'm going to stop supporting things that make people upset. Troops, 22 soldiers committing suicide every single day? Well, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go talk to the troops and listen to why some of them think that this is happening. I've talked to many of my friends, and it's not unrelated to war. I can tell you that. It's not unrelated to the fact that they joined up to be heroes and our government sends them to go murder people because we have something called a GDP. And the latest theory on Venezuela, did y'all see that? Why we want to go to Venezuela? Does anybody know about that? I really don't even want to show it. I'll show it if y'all want to. They're saying because the Koch brothers get most of their oil from all of their oil from Venezuela, and that they have processing facilities that they've already invested in, which if you don't know, Venezuela has the largest oil reserve on this planet, and their processing facilities can only process oil that comes from Venezuela because it's light enough, I believe it is. Either light or heavy enough. It's different types. So they need that oil. The Venezuelan government's like, nah, the Koch brothers, y'all got too much money. And they've been milking them. They've been making them pay regular price for their muffler. They've been making them pay regular price for the oil. And the Koch brothers don't like that. So now magically, Venezuela has an infestation of dictatorship because the Koch brothers want the oil. That's what I'm saying. It never comes home to you. This is why I say that look at history. Listen to the whistleblowers because they explain to you how your world actually works. Not how you want it to work, but how it actually works. And this was not only John Pilsner, but the other John, who wrote the Confessions of an Economic Hitman. That a big corporation wants something, They buy the U.S. government, and the U.S. government comes up with an excuse to go murder people in that country and steal whatever it is. I'll show this to you real quick. I think Anna said she wanted to see it. I think there was a quick one. Murdering people and stealing their oil doesn't make them happy. Or maybe it does. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But it's the Koch brothers. Meanwhile, we think, oh, we're fighting for democracy.
Change is inevitable. Then why haven't you changed that shirt in 3 weeks? No more drinking.
Because he wants to be sustainable and he doesn't want to buy slave shirts and he wants to be a minimalist. All right, let me show this to you. He understands that little poor kids actually make the clothing and he doesn't want to be a consumer anymore. He wants to take his baby step, like Marilyn said. He wants to take his little step. We're saying everything is all about taking steps. Check this out.
On the ongoing crisis in Venezuela, we're turning now to investigative journalist Greg Pallas. Greg, good of you to be with us today. I haven't seen you in a while. First, I understand. Glad to be with you. First, I understand that you have a unique perspective on the Americans' link in Venezuela involving the Koch brothers. What can you tell us?
Well, a couple things. And by the way, I was the reporter for The Guardian and BBC on the ground in Venezuela for many years. And one thing, and covering the oil industry. Look, the Koch brothers are the real beneficiaries of this attempt to overthrow the government of Venezuela. Right now, most of Venezuela's oil goes to the U.S., and most of that oil goes specifically to the Koch Industries refineries on the Gulf Coast. Now, they are in the middle of oil fields in Texas, but the Kochs can't use Texas oil because it's not filthy enough, literally not heavy enough for their refinery. So they are captive customers of the Venezuelan government, the Chavista government. And the Chavista government knows this, so they've been cranking the Kochs. They've been charging them above market prices for Venezuelan oil because the Kochs have nowhere else to turn. But one thing that they can do is if they can't get a good price from the Venezuelan government, hey, you're the Koch brothers. You change the government. So that's what's going on here. It's all about the oil.
Now that's what I was just going to get to next was, do you really believe that the Koch brothers are powerful enough to sway U.S. foreign policy, not only in Venezuela, but around the world, so much so that it appears to be this, attempted coup? It's really just revolving around big oil?
Well, oil is the prize. Even John Bolton, who is, the national security chief, the old neocon retread that Trump has put into office in charge of national security, our foreign policy. And John Bolton has literally said on Fox News, we're talking to U.S. oil companies. Exxon left Venezuela in a huff, and they want their oil fields back. And so, therefore, we have John Bolton literally saying up front, we're talking to U.S. oil companies about taking the Venezuelan oil assets. And they say, oh, our stealing Venezuelan oil assets are, it's good for the Venezuelan people. You're kidding me.
It's good for the Venezuelan people because it makes them happy. It makes them happy when tanks and bombs and guns come in. And I know, I'm waiting for people to start saying, it's Trump, it's the Republicans, it's the Democrats, it's the globalists, and it's the... They all do it. That's just how an oligarchy works. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to call it a government anymore. It's an oligarchy. An oligarchy has no interest in gross domestic happiness of anybody. All they care about is shoving money in bank accounts. So it's the Koch brothers or Exxon or whoever's buying it. And we go along with it because we're not invested in the happiness of Venezuela. We're not invested in the happiness of the poor children down the street that have biscuits. Gross domestic happiness over gross domestic slavery. Gross domestic violence. Gross domestic, it could be an asterisk. It could be a wild card. Because when it's gross domestic product, it can be anything. Whatever the product is, whatever people are buying. That's why I watch RT News. I don't want to watch the whole thing. I want to talk about happiness. Mainly because I want RT to get the credit for it. RT actually shows decent things. I want them to sell advertisement. because they say things that the CNN and the MSNBC and the Fox News won't show. Moving us forward. Al Jazeera does reports on Bhutan. I have never seen Bhutan on ABC, NBC, CBS 5. I say, you know what? I take that back. I saw one 3-minute thing I found on the internet one day where they kind of briefly talked about it, but they're talking negativity about Bhutan. Oh, their crime is going up and they don't have electricity and all of these things they're coming up with. And to me, it's nonsense. I think Stacey, what were you just asking? I saw you posted, Stacey said, have you ever seen somebody been shot? Have I seen anybody be shot? I've had guns pulled on me for the GDP. I've had guns pulled on me by police for the GDP, and I wasn't doing anything wrong. I've had that. I don't think I've seen anybody shot. I don't think I've seen anybody shot. Do I know people have been robbed? Absolutely. That helps the GDP. I think the closest thing to something traumatic like that was I went to the funeral of I think she was 4 or 5, little girl who was killed in this war on drugs. Didn't make her family too happy. Didn't make me happy. And why is the war on drugs waging? GDP. They can say, oh, well, Trump is responsible for Venezuela. No, he's not. Do you think Hillary Clinton would have done anything significantly different when the Koch brothers and Exxon showed up with a bag of money? You're gonna do the exact same thing because the GDP is everything. Our index is based on product. Doesn't matter how many people die or who gets raped or killed. That's why I say I'm not a voter. I'm not a voter. I can't vote for product. Product is too open-ended. I need to vote on happiness and actual change and modifying an oligarchy to something decent. Nancy Pelosi clapped for Trump, and I expect Nancy Pelosi to clap for Trump, Maryland. They're all on the same teams. It amazes me that people actually can't see that. They're all on team money. They're all on team GDP. They're all on that team. They're all killers. Somebody posted something awesome the other day. I think it was Chris or somebody, and Deb, Del, Panella, and everybody was commenting on it. And it was basically talking about, let me see if I can find it. I don't know if that's still on there. They were basically talking about in the war on drugs, break apart the Telecommunication Act, in the War Powers Act. Like, it just went through all the 20 different laws that we need to get rid of. And it said, stop showing support for, or tell your politician or something. I don't know, Tony posted it. Show support for politicians that believe in these things. It was like in the Patriot Act, stuff like that. And just the way my mind worked, I looked at it and I was like, all of these things are evil. All of them. Sure, you can end all of those laws. You can bring all those acts to an end. But if you keep the politicians that did them, what's the point? You keep the political parties that thought it was a good idea, what's the point? Their brains aren't working right. All of those laws are unconstitutional. It's just the beginning start. None of those laws are based in happiness of your citizens, their well-being, their sustainability. They're all based in making big corporations money. So delete all those laws. My point was, it was a good start, but I'm not clapping. I'm not clapping. You don't clap when people do their job. And not only that, you don't let people, I forgot my example. I think I just said something to the effect of, if the fry guy poisoned the fries, would you go ask the fry guy when he shows up to work the next day, hey, you know what, listen, can you not poison the fries a day? Can you, and just kind of clean out the pans that you put all the poison in, so no poison gets in those fries this time around? Or do you hold them accountable for poisoning the fries? Do you hold a government accountable to political parties and all the politicians for taking big money, writing unconstitutional laws, poisoning and killing their own people, and foreign and domestic? 5 million people are dead since 9/11. I guarantee you it's a lot more than 5 million. You don't keep that fry guy that put poison in the fries because you shouldn't have put it in to begin with. If you didn't read the Constitution or the Bill of Rights and you didn't know you're not a human, you're not sentient, you're okay with all the war, no, I'm not interested in your reform. You are a psychopath. You need to be gone. We need new politicians. No, actually, maybe did I say that? We need people focused on happiness. Happiness. No more the product is the bottom line. No more that psychopathic king crap. We need people focused on happiness, looking out for each other. Our future selves one day will laugh about how primitive our type 0 civilization and its reliance on oil. Isn't that right? That's hard. So we're on it, Harley. The future generation is going to look back at us like, you were morons. Why were you so stupid? Really? And it's all on social media, Harley. Like we talk about, you can't hide it. The grandkids going to look back like, dang it, grandpa was an idiot. I don't know what was wrong with him. And also I appreciate your hit on the was it Kardashev scale, type 0 civilization. We are type 0. I don't even think we're 0. If you look up the Kardashev scale, it talked about the civilizations using fossil fuels versus the power of a sun versus the power of a solar system versus the power of a universe. And we're not even on the scale. We're 0. We get oil out the ground. We don't know where the oil comes from. They're still calling it fossil fuels, and now the geologists are debating that, and that's not even coming from the dinosaurs. We can't even get that right. But we could be focused on happiness. Oil doesn't make people happy. Oil is a carcinogen that kills people. Makes life a little easier, but so do solar panels and wind vanes and wind turbines. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Yes, Augustine. And we manifest those dreams. That's why I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer because everybody, I think, who is important in the evolution, the social, psychological evolution of the human race, they all were dreamers. They just dreamt it up. They were philosophers. They thought forward, and they didn't listen to people and they said, oh, that's just illogical. That's not possible. All things that are never possible that generation seem to occur in the future. They always become possible. Those great rock and roll philosophers, John Lennon, Paul McCartney wrote in their last joint lyric, in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. In the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can process that for me. Are you making love? Are you making love to the planet? Tina, calm down. Sit down, son. Are you making love to the planet? Do we have an index based in love? Is that even a concern? I always default kind of back to scripture because that's how I was raised, and most people in this country identify themselves with Christianity and Christ, and the only thing that Christ said was love people. Make love to the world, solve people's problems, help people. And very few people who wear those labeled Christians actually have anything to do with that. All those ancient civilizations have been telling us to look to the stars, to be aware of comets, asteroids, but the research isn't profitable. You know me, Susan, I always look to the stars. I always look to the stars. I think when we know that there's something greater than ourselves, when we know there's something bigger, when we know we can make it, we don't all have to die miserable on a miserable planet in miserable societies that are survival of the fittest. It makes it possible. This possibility is the issue, right, Susan? Possibility. People, they can't envision your dream. They don't think it's possible. That's why I like to look to the stars. There are actually still people in this world who think they're alone in the universe. And it really does amaze me. You know, but that's pretty much the message that all those ancient creatures, whatever they were, they had was to love each other and take care of each other. I want to go to a quick interview real quick. Well, it's not all that quick, but I want to listen to a little bit of what the Prime Minister has to say. Because I don't think everybody knows what Bhutan is, or where Bhutan is.
The Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan has long been known as a Shangri-La of happiness. This devoutly Buddhist nation is fiercely proud of its culture and traditions. But after decades of self-imposed exile, Bhutan is now slowly opening up. With the introduction of democracy and more foreign investments, many worry this mountain paradise may soon be lost. I'm Fauzia Ibrahim. On this edition of 101 Eats, we speak exclusively with Prime Minister Jimmy Yosa Tinley about the impact of globalization on Bhutan.
Let's be clear too, because I'm not saying Bhutan's the perfect example. I'm not looking for perfection. That's what the haters do. I could care less about that. They are 1,000 times evolved more than any government anywhere else in the world, because they actually got to a place where they focused on their citizens' happiness. Whether it succeeds or fails there, not the point. Doesn't matter. They are so much more evolved than we are. Sometimes you just got to go off on the step one of evolving sentience.
In an ever-increasingly globalized world, one country seems to have remained untouched. The Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan. This mainly Buddhist nation remained isolated for decades, and today it actively cultivates the image of a pristine Shangri-La. Here, gross national happiness, or GNH, eclipses the nation's GDP in importance. It's a concept developed by the nation's fourth monarch to consolidate spiritual and economic development.
Gross national happiness is a way we take all the benefits of modernization, but while holding on to our values, our culture and tradition. That means, for instance, that if we do industries, they must be clean. In terms of carbon emissions, they must be neutral or negative. In terms of culture, it must be culturally sensitive.
The practice of GNH is taken very seriously here. Cultural preservation is seen in the compulsory wearing of traditional dress in schools, government offices, and on formal occasions. Environmental consideration is enshrined in the Constitution, dictating that at least 60% of the country's forests must be preserved. Economic self-reliance is practiced in subsistence farming, and good governance was developed further 2 years ago when the nation adopted democracy after more than a century of monarchy.
Things really haven't changed much, and that is a great tribute to our kings. The system under our monarchs was so useful and so benevolent and so appreciated by the people that with democracy, democracy hasn't really delivered any new freedoms, so to speak, to them.
But as Bhutan finds itself opening up to economic development, there are concerns the principles of GNH may be compromised. A current debate in Parliament is whether the nation should join the World Trade Organization. Another heated topic is India's plans to harness Bhutan's hydroelectric power by financing 4 projects.
Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, I don't know. But we should pause and think about the social, economic, environmental consequences of these policies. Are we balancing material goals with spiritual needs, environmental protection, vis-a-vis our hydropower policies? Sure.
So they're selling power to, is it India or China? Do I think the Bhutanese will make it? No, I don't. I don't. We are a cancer on the world. There is no way that little Bhutan, between big China, big India, in a world where power, money, and greed allow you to breathe oxygen, there's no way they make it. The only way, not in the current model of the world. Now, if people in the world begin to evolve, if their brains start to be able to process sentient thought, and we start to move towards gross domestic happiness and having governments that more than get their people divided in the power, but working towards the collective benefit of each other, then Bhutan might make it. They might make it. But being the first in a patch of thorns, being a naked piglet in a patch of thorn bushes, there's no way to make it. We're too evil. Our evil infects. Our greed is cancerous. Some of our greatest people, the most kind people, are still infected by the greed, and they look past what money actually is. They look past the conflict that it requires. They look past, they believe that you can launder, or what is the thing that the mafia used to do? They used to wash the money, used to launder the money through a flower shop or candy shop. They take that blood money and they wash it clean through some sort of a business, and then on the other side it's supposed to be clean. There is no clean money. It's all evil. It's all bloody. And so there's no way Bhutan can make it in a world that we keep the way we keep it. This is why we have to evolve. We have to step up to where they are. So they're going to have problems. As soon as their people discover as much greed as ours, they'll be okay to whitewash the money as well. They'll be okay with murdering other countries to get health care in theirs, because that's just human. The same brain in our body is in their body. Their brains, or the brain of their king that handed the people a government with an index based in their happiness, he was just a little more evolved than our brains. But the same brains in most of the people are the brains in ours. They'll bomb us quick as they'll bomb anybody else if they got the drones. It's us who have to evolve.
Some are cautious over the pace with which Bhutan is courting foreign investments and development, fearing it will bring too much undesirable change to the nation.
We are not an economic power. We are not a military power, but in a world which is fast losing its cultural values, Bhutan can be a leader in cultural preservation and environment conservation. We can be a leader. And in propounding the philosophy of GNH. But if we open ourselves up to the outside world, it would ultimately mean be watering down the philosophy of GNH.
Television and the internet were introduced only in 1999. Today, with satellite TV offering 40 channels of foreign entertainment and unrestricted internet access, some observers worry how the younger generation is being affected.
Most of the youth really don't know what to do with their, their time. I think the youth used to go on picnics and, go and visit family members and all that. But I think that has slowly changed. And they are more glued to, TV, to video games.
More worrying is a rise in drug use and gang violence among the nation's youth, which is attributed to Bhutan's modernization.
Yeah, and this is not new. We talk about that. That's what TV does. That's what the video games do. When they get exposed to the things that make our kids psychopathic, or lean towards violence, lean towards conflict, not collectivism, not working together, to lean away from happiness, to want to be happier than everyone else, then they'll become us in another generation. That's why we really don't have a whole lot of time to play these games. We really don't have times to continue playing with GDP and a violent world, making it more violent by us just trying to collect more than somebody else.
Rapid urbanization for one, also exposure, and a lot of our youth go out to study. They bring back bad habits, easy accessibility to drugs and alcohol. And then I think generally maybe changes in the lifestyle, there are more clubs in urban areas.
As Bhutan progresses, many say its rural communities are being left behind.
I'll post you can watch the whole thing later.
Welcome back to 101 East. This week we are in the Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan as we discuss how democracy and globalization has affected this nation's gross national happiness. Speaking exclusively with us is Prime Minister Jigme Thingley. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
My pleasure.
Democracy was introduced 2 years ago. What changes have you seen in this country?
Well, for one thing, the people, I think, now are beginning to understand rather slowly that how the country grows and develops is now in their hands, as opposed to this matter being the responsibility of one man alone, and that was the king. And I think as we go on, we have now completed 2 years. I do believe that the people will want to be playing an increasing role in the way and with respect to the decisions that the government takes.
How difficult is it to maintain GNH, or gross national happiness, with opening up Bhutan to the rest of the world?
Being very honest, it has not really been difficult at all. And in fact, I have really seen little or no adverse impact of Bhutan's opening out to the outside world, especially through the media. There is a sense of pride about being Bhutanese. I think it has made us more conscious and more aware of the values, of the heritage that we have cherished.
What is your personal
opinion? I want to pause for a minute. He said a few things I found interesting. One, I don't do the ethnic, racial pride nonsense. I don't mess around with that because to me it's stupid. I didn't accomplish any of that. It's just the genetics I was born in, the place I was born in. But being proud to live in a society that is based on the philosophies of what the Bhutanese are doing, I totally get it. It makes a lot of sense. Being proud to live in a society that equates your values, right? I say it all the time. I'm Christian in weird ways. Well, I don't know. I believe in Christ. I don't know how to say it anymore because you say it and I don't want to be affiliated with the people that are doing everything Christ hates, but they like to wear the name Christian, which is the vast majority, which is what Christ told you. I try to think about, well, if these are my values, loving people, caring for people, feeding people, taking care of them, seeing to their needs, not beating them over the head with a Bible or anything like that, that if Christ came back, would Christ want to live in your nation? Let me ask you that question. If that's what you believe, if you believe in Muhammad or Buddha, whatever you believe in, if the thing that you, Mother Nature, would she have respect for your nation? Would she want to live in Bhutan where they're trying to evolve socially? Or would your Christ want to live in your nation? What would they be proud of? Me, the way my mind works based on studying the Bible my entire life, if Christ came again, he would blow the hell up out of my country. He would blow the whole thing up because we are Babylon. We are evil. He'd blow every last conservative leadership. He would just wipe through all of them and probably start anew and live in Bhutan because we are evil. And this gross domestic product thing destroys us. And the other thing is, and he is, I guess to a degree, he's a prime minister, politician, something. But I disagree with it's been easy to maintain. It's hard to maintain because you can't see the infection level of the next generation in watching television, playing the video games, and starting to take in the outside world. Breeding conflict into kids is definitely a thing that television does and that exposure does. And you won't know until the future. Like there's a reason we're being farmed. We're not being farmed for our benefit. We're not being farmed because it's good for us. It makes us happy. We're being farmed because it allows a very small few to collect the vast majority of resources. We don't have Democrats and Republicans to do good things for us. We have Democrats and Republicans because it's easier for big corporations to buy just a few groups and start wars and rob the people and create a conflict-based society where you have these phrases like making ends meet. Ends aren't supposed to meet. That's ridiculous. So I kind of disagree with some of the things he's saying there, but again, he's on the inside looking out and seeing what he sees on the inside. I'm on the outside looking in, and I'm just looking at the poverty in my nation and how the kids are affected by that, and they're affected by this television and all this stuff and what it does.
opinion about it, about joining the World Trade Organization. Would you like to see Bhutan join the WTO?
Bhutan is yet to decide. There is an ongoing debate, as you have observed earlier, on whether Bhutan should join and whether by joining we will gain more or we will have more to lose. And we are in the process of determining and weighing the pros and the cons. We'll take our decision when we are very certain of the advantages.
It's very...
Well, the challenge, though, too, there is they don't have a choice whether or not they join the outside world, right? Because the outside world will kill them. The outside world will invade them. They have no choice, you know, because when you have governments that farm their people, they're going to be significantly more powerful than all the other governments. That's why America is much more powerful than everybody else, not just because of World War II, but because we have a society that allows psychopathic elites to collect more resources through cronyism, crony capitalism. That's why they have so much power that they can inflict on Bhutanese or any other society that tries to be free. That's why America's pretty much destroyed Latin America and knocked out all of its governments, because we're more powerful. The more collective intelligence, the more collective labor the plantation has, the more powerful it'll be. So Bhutanese, these countries that actually start to develop and evolve and progress in positive ways will get destroyed, because the last thing whatever owns the American government is going to want, or the British government or France or anywhere else, is for people to be happy there and you to see that. When you see that you can be happy without murdering other people, why would you want to murder people? When you see that you can have happiness without starving poor people in trailer parks and ghettos, then you'll ask the question, well, why is my government doing that? So they have to join the world community, because that's how the world works, unless we change it, unless we change the model.
Interesting, because Bhutan really is the only country in the world that officially pursues the state of happiness. And this is all wrapped up in trying to protect Bhutanese culture, tradition, religion, identity. Why are all these things so important to Bhutan?
You find it peculiar, I think, but I find it rather peculiar that not too many countries in the world are doing what we are, and that is being convinced that happiness is, in the end, what matters most. Here in Bhutan, we have become very conscious. It is a very conscious pursuit. The state has taken upon itself the responsibility of creating the enabling conditions.
Some would say, though, that it's easy for Bhutan to pursue that line of policies because Bhutan doesn't have the material growth.
The moment you arrived here in this country, you will have found that in terms of the material aspects of our ecology, we are doing very well. That's material wealth. Ecologically, we are very rich. 72% of this country is under forest cover, and it is growing. Everyone has a home. They have means of livelihood. Unemployment, although rising, it is now about 4%. It still, was until recent days something that was unheard of. Our roads reach almost every part of this country, and those that have not reached, we will ensure will be done, will be accessed within the next 3 years. I think the Bhutanese understand very well that life as we live it, that the macroeconomic models within which countries are so-called growing are not really promoting a sustainable way of life. Look at the climate, it's changing. Natural resources are depleting. Every conventional economic model promotes growth. Growth to what end? Growth for how long? And it's all about senseless growth.
You were once quoted as saying humanity must evolve a new set of ethics, a new approach to sharing rather than profiting. We need to accept that prosperity amidst inequity is fragile. I ask you then, can globalization and gross national happiness, can they coexist?
They must. They need to. But nobody wants to give up what they have. And they are so very oblivious to the reality and to the fact that what they have cannot last. And in the end, what we really have as a result of this rat race, this consumerist ethos that guides our way of life, it's all an illusion demonstrated by the recent calamities that we have faced. You know, the recent financial crises that we've had, beginning with the Great Depression.
I want to move away from
I had to pause on that for a minute. Share or die. We came to that conclusion. I think, well, y'all probably came to it earlier. I came to that conclusion a couple of months ago when I started to realize how sick we are as a planet, how sick our societies are, how evil they are. We have to evolve. And he's nailing all of the points right there. We have to evolve. We don't have a choice. We either learn to share with our neighbors or we all die. We learn to share with the countries next to us. We learn to share with the continents and work together and stop trying to rob each other like we're the Bloods and the Crips, or we're all gone, as it should be. And this is why I love this stuff, because when you start to see individuals from all over the world coming to the same conclusion, people who've never interfaced, probably never read the same books, never grew up in the same cultures, all starting to realize that we're all being played against each other. We all work as a collective. People who are just sick of violence, people who are just sick of conflict, sick of that de-evolved mentality that the majority carry. Another thing I appreciate, he touched consumerism, right? Nobody wants to give up what they have, right? And that's just as evil as anything else. They don't want to give up their house because I got a house. You hear him say that everybody in his country has a house? Imagine that. Everybody in his country has a house. How come so many Americans are homeless? How come so many Britons are homeless? Because a lot of Britons got big homes. A lot of Americans have big homes. They don't want to give them up. See, it's easy to teach your kids that you're a good person. We're good people. We love and take care of everybody. It's easy to go to church on Sunday, put a little few dollars in the plate. It's easy to do that. It's more difficult to actually look at your own life in a very critical fashion, look at your own society and realize you're not willing to give those things up. You're not willing to give up the consumerism. That's why we say you got to take baby steps, take a few steps and go there. That's why Brother Chris just came in the house. I see you, brother. Name of his show is Deprogram to Reprogram. You have to deprogram to reprogram the world. You have to deconsumerize to share.
GNH now for just a while and talk
But why?
about...
Let's talk about happiness.
Bhutan and Nepal have had ongoing discussions about Bhutanese refugees that fled the country in the 1980s. Critics have called them victims of an ethnic cleansing program. Was it an ethnic cleansing program?
When it comes to this particular problem of the people in the camps, refugee camps in Nepal, Bhutan has been branded. Bhutan, it has, perpetrator of human rights violations, ethnic cleansing. It is unfair and it is absolutely wrong. What I can say is that the people in the refugee camps in Nepal, numbering about 100,000, are in fact the victims of a humanitarian situation.
How so?
Caused by a demographic explosion, by ecological damages, ecological disasters, by economic deprivation.
I gotta pause for a second. I'm gonna pause because I think who said that? Somebody said something a minute ago. Who's the sister said that? I saw a comment. Al Jazeera is owned by the Western media. Yeah, it is, and it's a tough interview and it's a tough question. I disagree and I object to the question. And the reason why I object to the question because Bhutan is not on trial. Bhutan is not on trial. What's on trial is the criminal world. a world based in conflict and theft and destruction and murder. That's what's on trial, and that's what they stand against. So of course they're going to get an infection of, oh, ethnic cleansing, genocide, ISIS. They got something. There's something wrong with it. Of course they do, because that's what your government does. But from the way my mind works, is I don't really care about killers who debate issues with somebody who might kind of sort of scratch somebody. That's why I didn't watch the Mueller investigation. I really don't care. I don't care when you have lifelong criminal DNC going after someone who might have done some crimes. I have no interest in that. I have no interest in even the Republic. It's not one way or the other. If you are a criminal, if you are a war criminal, you murder and kill people, I have no interest in your critique. So their critiques of Bhutan, I don't care. What's on trial is either evolving or staying in a de-evolved condition of conflict. That's what's on trial. But he's answering the question.
But these are Bhutanese, aren't they? These were ethnic Nepalese Bhutanese who were driven out of their homes.
I'll get to that. By an agreement with India, which enables the free movement of Nepalese across India. And Bhutan happens to be on the fringes, on the side of that population migration route. And in the more recent years, we've had floods, or waves and waves of illegal immigration. And the people in the camps are mostly people who have been expelled from our country lawfully upon having, entered our country illegally. But the vast majority are not Bhutanese. It is wrong to say that they are Bhutanese.
And so you deny what critics called ethnic cleansing in the 1980s. You don't think
if that were the case, then the 1/5 of our people who are of ethnic Nepalese origin would not be here and would not be enjoying their rights as they do. For instance, 1/5 of our parliament comprises of ethnic Nepalese.
There are some, though.
It's baseless.
Well, some would say that the whole program was basically to protect Bhutanese culture and tradition, which again is something that is very central to Bhutanese life.
Everyone has a right to interpret, and I think it is popular to interpret, to put situations like this in the human rights color and be seen as a champion. But who's going to champion the cause of Bhutan? Bhutan's survival. We, even as small as our population is, population management is a serious challenge. Family planning is a very big program here in Bhutan. We are, of course, firstly, demographically responsible, unlike some countries that are equally fragile as Bhutan have therefore suffered from population explosions that led to this problem in the first place, this huge population movement. And secondly, GNH is about sustainability. There is a limit to how much the land can absorb.
Just finally.
So before she asks this, so what he's explaining, if you're not getting it, so right, Bhutan is between China and India, two of the biggest populous countries in the entire world. And Bhutan is largely forest. So of course, where do people migrate? When they're being starved by their murderous nations based in GDP, they go to freer places. They go to places where there's land and there's food. And so they got an influx, and they just basically say, you all had to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. I get that. So they're facing the critique for that. But once again, this isn't about, well, who's better? It's in a zipper contest between this nation and the Bhutanese. It's a zipper contest between staying in a de-evolved condition or taking the concepts of putting humanity first. That's why I love this. It's not that Bhutan, they have a great solution. It's that they're trying to move forward. They actually have an idea in moving forward that's not based in violence and money and destruction. That's what I love. They have a very sentient, Christ-based, Buddha-based, natural law-based, happiness-based direction. and they're not willing to kill a bunch of people to get there, to pay for the health care or to pay for the wall. So I don't really care about the critiques on Bhutan from psychopathic governments, but that's what the media does. The media, they try to put this little toxicity in there, like Brother Harley was saying, where you're like, oh, well, it's not really working out that well, so my country ain't that bad. No, your country's bad. Your country is horrible. You live amongst killers. It doesn't get any worse. It doesn't get any worse.
Lisa, what challenges do you see Bhutan facing as it slowly opens up more and more to the rest of the world?
I find reasons to be optimistic. The world is changing, and it is changing because of the many shocks that human society is receiving. And in so doing, there is a growing population around the world that understands and appreciates and sees gross national happiness, this philosophy, as an alternative, holistic development paradigm. And in so doing, I believe that even as we have been inspired and encouraged by our development partners, including the casual tourist who comes here and says, don't change, stay the way you are. I think it's beautiful. To be happy in the end is what matters most. And when we come here, we find everybody is happy. Everybody is smiling. Even the stray dogs appear to be smiling. This is what they say. And the world is changing. And changing for the better. And when that is the case, Bhutan does not feel threatened.
Prime Minister, thank you for speaking with us.
And in the end, it's happiness that matters. It is. Talk to any of the older folks you know. In the end, it's about happiness. Like Ivana asked, was that nationalism, protecting his people? Absolutely it is. And from that perspective, like I said, I am a nationalist. Not that I believe in the Rothschilds and Rockefellers nation called the United States of America, but from the fact that people who live closest to me are the people I need to buy from. They're people I need to work with. My neighbor, I'm a localist. I'm a familyist. I'm a streetist. And I'm an earthist. So absolutely, he has to take care of his nation. And the problem is when you have a free nation that's based in gross domestic happiness, you're going to have people coming in. And they don't have the money to take care of large swaths of people. And this is why we have to figure our things out. They've got their thing being figured out. They're moving in a sentient direction. We keep pushing in de-evolved directions. So it absolutely is. But I'm always about localism. I'm not about nationalism from a war and go murder people perspective. I'm always a nationalist from these people live around me. I shouldn't be buying stuff from China. Love China to death. But I shouldn't be importing anything from China that my neighbor makes, right? So, but that's what about building a sustainable world is about. You can't expect the Bhutanese to take care of massive immigration from all the psychopathic nations that surround this planet. They don't have the money to feed everybody. They won't maintain 70% forestry if they let everybody come in. So I get that. I completely get that. But we live in a time where there's one little, I won't call it paradise. I won't call it Shangri-La, but there's a lot more lie in there, Shangri, than in America. You're onto something, Gerard. I got kicked off 3 times. So, Susan, I'm not onto anything. It's just we're moving forward. Some of us are evolving and some of us are still de-evolving, but the vast majority are willing to do nothing about it. I think they're onto something, and all I'm trying to do is listen to the perspectives of different people to figure out how do we move forward and do better instead of the evil little sick world we got right now. And I see them making great progress in moving forward just on the concept that a human government should take care of the humans instead of robbing other people for corporations. And I think that, but to a degree though, and I don't think I should be clapping, but I'm happy and I'm proud of what's happening on my planet in the country called Bhutan. I'm not really clapping Because what is the purpose of government if it isn't to see to the people anyway? Like, why did we create this thing? If the purpose of government is to rob other people so big corporations and elite can get wealthier, but it's something that we have to do. And individually, we have to move forward processes like this. But once again, why do the politicians murder people and give you health care? Why do they murder people to give you a guaranteed job? Why do they murder people to give you a Green Deal? Why do they murder people to give you a wall? Why do they murder people? It's because you watch. You pay for it. That's how you pay for it. You take money out your wallet every time you turn the damn television on and let them finish their conversation, because they're tracking that. And they're selling you advertising because you're paying attention. Stop paying attention because you're actually paying for your enslavement. Turn it off. If people started watching what was happening in Bhutan more, like imagine if you started searching Bhutan. Imagine if you shared it on your wall. Imagine if you shared this video. Imagine if you just only listened to sentient conversation. You only looked at things involving love and evolution and peace and stop the war. Then what would the TV do? What would the media do? They would be forced to show you the things that you want to watch, because you're not watching the war. You're not watching the de-evolved behaviors. And so advertisement alone, what they make dictates what they'll show. What they'll show dictates what other people will watch and what other people even know about. That's how we move forward. That's how we move forward, is we start to drive the conversation. The world is psychopaths because we're psychopathic apologists. Maybe that's the word. Is that in the word, y'all? Millennials got all these new words. But apologists. We go along with the psychopathic politicians, and the media makes big money showing us them, and so they'll keep showing it. That's what I think. All right, let me go to comments. This was an aftershock of English rule indoctrination runs deep. It does, Elizabeth. Well, we are, and that's why we used to talk about colonization all the time. We are a post-colonized world where violence became the model, and robbing everybody was only bad if you were in a gang. If you're in a political party, you're a nation, robbing everybody is okay. Murder and rape, perfectly fine. Post-colonization, because after colonization, the wiser people in all the nations, even in Britain, even in Germany, all of the nations that had these tribal lives that were more peaceful, that worked together more than we do today, they eroded all of that. They destroyed thousands of years of handed down wisdoms of working together and collectivism, and they turned us into apathetic, psychopathic, apologetic people. I'm not apologetic is that the right word? Apologetic? Yes, when you apologize for things. What do they call them? Yeah, because they're apologists. That's what they call apologists. Why don't they have a disclaimer that all mainstream media is funded by the Zionists? Because Kelly, it would be too true. It would be too true. But I wouldn't say it's funded by the Zionists like we talked about yesterday. It's just whoever is in control of this, whatever the 12 families are, they want the Zionists, right? They want them to finish their colonization of that area. I don't think the Zionists have any power. I think there's somebody in one of those big families or all the families that are sympathetic to the Zionist psychopathic fighting what the scriptures and the Torah say. And it may not even be a religious thing. It could be completely because they just need the conflict. The 12 families just need everybody fighting. They know how to destabilize the Middle East is you take the smallest and you give them the most power. You give them the most nukes and tanks and weapons, and everybody wants to kill them and they want to kill everybody. And as long as people are in conflict, those 12 families stay in power. You better stay the hell off the net then. Well, Patricia, I don't think that's the way forward. The net's going to be there no matter what we do. I think that what we have to do is stay on sites that are positive, right? Let them make money from the advertisement. Share things that combat, like I think how do you, it's like they say, how do you combat hate speech? Is with more speech. You combat hate speech with more speech. So you can't, the internet's not going away. We either hand it to these psychopathic media moguls, massive corporations, or we combat that message with more positive ones. But it's not going away. It's like automation. You're not going to stop it. You can control it and make robots help people and help evolve us and end artificial scarcity. But the robots are coming. There's nothing we can do. They're either going to kill us or they're going to help us. I hear Charlie Brown's teacher when I watched it. Somebody said that yesterday. Absolutely. Nationalism means your country first, the happiness and well-being of your people first. The term has been misused for a while now. I agree with that. I completely agree with that, Ivana. You know, it's you got to go from local on out. Local on out. Absolutely. But nationalism, they take it and they abuse it and they make it about war and conflict. And so from a sustainability perspective, I'm absolutely a localist. It's like the word Christianity and Christian. I'm scared of that word because too many people use it and abuse it. And they, you know, and then other people hate Christ now because people who say they're Christian do everything Christ hates. Even the leaders on television with the Bibles, put the hand on the Bible. It just needs to, need to just light on fire when that happens. But so I like the word localist. I don't like the word nationalist. Count how many animals I see. Well, Tina, growing up, we saw animals everywhere. We don't see them now, and we should know exactly why. As a beautiful country, they were smart enough not to let humanity in. I just thought I'd say that to piss people off with some truth. Well, John, Christ wasn't Christian, so I'm good with that. Christ wasn't Christian. You know, afterwards, we decided to make this name and put together the dogma and click this in and add that and whatever and edit some scriptures and, you know, so, but at that time, if you were in Bhutan and you saw the Crusades, would you want to let those people in outside of the name? Hell no. So I agree with that, but I don't think it's going to piss people off, John. I think here you have people who follow Christ. I could be wrong. I watch what my friends post. I don't think you got many modern war-loving Republican Jesus Christians. I don't think you have too many of those. Or Democrat Jesus Christians. Okay with murder and rape and devastation. Let me see. Apathetic. Okay, that's what it is. Full of apathy, right. Uh-oh, now we're not doing that today. We ain't doing that okra mess today. Hell no. Apologizing for self is important. Apologizing for another's behavior is psychopathic. Yeah, that is, Lori. That is kind of crazy, isn't it? People who they apologize for their politicians. How do you apologize for your politician? Thank you, Lori. You got me thinking about that. How are you apologizing for your politician murdering people? How do you know they're sorry? How do you know they're sorry for the Patriot Act? How do you know they're sorry for the crime bill? How do you know they're sorry? You don't even know them. You don't know the number. You don't know the address. They won't ever call you back. They won't answer your email. So how are you apologize? Say, oh, well, Bernie ain't gonna do it again. Somebody told me that the other day. Oh, Bernie ain't gonna do it again. He ain't gonna vote for war again. Oh, he's not, huh? Oh, yeah. He's sorry, huh? Okay, yeah. That's a good point. That's pretty nutty. That is actually very, very adult hero worship-ish crazy. All right. Chosen people, my butt. Well, right, Harley. Well, they're not. They're actually looking at. First of all, you can't be the chosen people if you shoot kids with high-powered assault rifles. Can't be. No, that's number one. That's kind of number one. You're chosen, but you're not that's like an indicator. That's a hint, right? If you can take a high-powered assault rifle and shoot into a crowd of children, there ain't nothing chosen, but somebody chose you. But that person has bifurcated horns and a tail. I must disagree. Zionists have tons of power. Well, I'm not saying they don't have power, Deborah. They got a lot of power. What I'm saying is those who own the power, those who have all the power, keep them in power. That's my point. Those who have the most power, keep them in power. the people who actually run things on this planet, we never get to know. They want you to hate Zionists. That's how that works. They want me to hate Zionists. That's why they let them do all this psychopathic activity. And it's easy. It's very hateable. I love the Jews to death, but the Zionists, they're very hateable, right? Because they're murdering people and they shoot kids in their genitals and stuff. Like they're doing this insane stuff Abby Martin brought about. And so when I look at Zionism, I don't look at it any different than how I look at the Japanese, again, when they invaded China. Right? Was the problem the Japanese? Should we hate Japan now? Should we hate the Japanese people for what they did in Nanking? When they murdered 400,000 people, mass raped everybody? We can still hate Japan, but that's not going to do anything. Our problem is this concept of conflict. We should be hating the model. We should be changing the model. We should be speaking about the model of allowing violence to exist. It's not an anti-Zionist thing, right? They want you to, they literally need you to be in conflict with Zionists to keep this going, while they work on the next group for you to hate, to do some psychopathic activity. And I'm saying in order for it to stop, we got to stop focusing on the side effects and focus on the actual root cause, which is those who actually have all the resources that we never really get to know. Right, we can, somebody said consent. I can't see who said it, but we consent to keep being played. We consent to continue to fight our neighbors. We consent to keep fighting another nation. We consent to keep fighting another group of people, and those people will defend themselves, and they'll get more weapons, and we get more weapons, they get more weapons, they get more weapons, we get more weapons, they make more threats, we make more threats, we invade and fight each other, kill, murder a whole bunch of people, people get raped, sex slavery, all kind of crazy nonsense, almost destroy the world, and it starts all back over again. And you fight with those people, and you fight with these people, and fight with, meanwhile, instead of competing for resources, we can be living like a collective. That's how I think this all stops. It all stops when we stop playing the game. We stop rolling the dice to see who's luckiest. That's what I think. There is one other thing I do want to show you. I don't have it queued up because I don't know who posted this. I don't know who posted it. It was deep. It was deep. Y'all know me. I'm not big on the privilege thing. I hate that. I hate the word altogether. It's real, but privilege is abused too. Like, you know, there are certain people who are privileged in this game of Monopoly that have more, and it's not based on skin color, and it's not based on nation. Those are relational, but it doesn't mean that everybody that looks that way or lives there has privilege. There's all different types of privilege, millions of different types of privilege. This was a great video that kind of explained monopoly privilege, right? That, you know, nothing is fair and it never will be. Never will be. But we have differences in allowing for competition to occur or making sure everybody has what they need. And this was just, it was a great video. I don't know who produced this. I'm pretty sure did I share it yesterday? I'll read the comments while I try to find it. Hell, the streets in Israel are named after the Rothschilds. Y'all know about the Balfour Declaration. Well, they don't even hide it. They don't even hide it, Patricia. The elites and the government fund the TV stations. They don't need our advertising money. They probably don't, John. They probably don't. But a lot of them do. Not all of them. Some of them still need our support. Some of them still need our money. Some of them still, they got that need. And as long as they have a need and they're selling advertisement on us watching psychopathic activity and us voting for it just by watching it, then we need to stop. STFU Debbie is on YouTube and Discord. Yes, we got to become ungovernable. Gotta be. We're too governable. We're too far. I think it's beyond that. I think we're just too farmable. I love her message in terms of being ungovernable. But I think we're farmable. We are slaveable. We like slavery, and we like being enslaved. We like this forced labor society, and we can't seem to get away from it. All right, I want to show you. Where is it? I want to show you this. It was a great representation of kind of explaining privilege. But like nationalism, I get annoyed with privilege because it's used to abuse other people instead of just telling you an honest message that, you know, we live in this monopoly game. Kids are born, they don't have a shot. I thought I had it. I thought I shared it, but I guess I'm far down and I think I'm beyond where it's supposed to be. It's almost as if they know the video I want to play and they're not letting me play it. I'm pretty sure I put it. Yeah, I know I did. Oh, here it goes. Here, I think this is it. Here we go. Yes, I want you to see this. This is an important one to watch. I don't know if I can put it in the right place so you can actually see it well. That's not gonna work. I know what I can do. Let's try this. Sometimes this stuff doesn't work out how I want it to. I think that's what I'm gonna show. Oh, not gonna let me do it that way. All right, hang on. I do want to show this to you. When I do that, it shows you my friends list. Y'all see this video right here? I don't know how to show. Let me see. Yeah, well, all right, well, you can't see the whole thing. I'll post it, you can watch the whole thing, but I'll let you see as much as I can of it. It's an example in privilege. Kind of explains what privilege is.
Line up, we're about to race. Hey, we are racing for a $100 bill. The winner of this race will take this. It's a $100 bill. Before I say go, I'm going to make a couple statements. If those statements apply to you, I want you to take 2 steps forward. If those statements don't apply to you, I want you to stay right where you're at. Take 2 steps forward if both of your parents are still married. Take 2 steps forward if you grew up with a father figure in the home. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a private education. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a free tutor growing up. Take 2 steps forward if you've never had to worry about your cell phone being shut off. Take 2 steps forward if you've never had to help mom or dad with the bills. Take 2 steps forward if it wasn't because of your athletic ability, you don't have to pay for college. Take 2 steps forward if you never wondered where your next meal was going to come from. I want you guys up here in the front just to turn around and look. Every statement I've made has nothing to do with anything any of you have done. Has nothing to do with decisions you've made. Everything I have said has nothing to do with what you've done. We all know these people up here have a better opportunity to win this $100. Does that mean these people back here can't race? No. We would be foolish to not realize we've been given more opportunity. We don't want to recognize that we've been given a head start. But the reality is we have. Now, there's no excuse. They still got to run their race. You still got to run your race. But whoever wins this $100, I think it'd be extremely foolish of you not to utilize that and learn more about somebody else's story. Because the reality is, if this was a fair race and everybody was back on that line, I guarantee you some of these black dudes would smoke all of you. And it's only because you have this big of a head start that you're possibly going to win this race called life. That is a picture of life, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing you've done has put you in the lead that you're in right now. When I say go, on your mark, get set, go! If you didn't learn anything from this activity, you're a fool.
That's real. That is real, people. That's the world we live in. That is the world we live in. It's, you know, it get a little emotional when you watch that stuff because it's wrong. I don't like it when they take it and they put racial spins to it. I hate that. I hate that because they break the point. They break the point. That last line involves a lot of poor white folks. It involves a lot of poor Venezuelans. There are a lot of poor people in Gaza. We have this world that's based in running a race. And it was fake news too, where they run and they're going the distance of a football field. It doesn't work that way. We have things called police. We have things called unconstitutional laws. We have things that you're not even going to get a chance. By the time they finish putting all the privilege in there, two-parent privilege, education privilege, parents got a great income privilege, parents never been to prison privilege. When you get all of those privileges in there, that race is only a few feet. You have absolutely no chance if you are a child born in the back of ever getting that $100. Ever. But this is what we're faced against. We're going to continue to live this world based in competing with each other to steal what each other has because we were lucky. That's why I don't call it survival of the fittest when I get a chance. It's survival of the luckiest. It literally is about who is lucky, who's born in the right spot. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's only that way because we allow it to stay that way. And usually because we always put a little tribal, racial spin. We play these games. I mean, I appreciate the honesty about it, but social economics plays its role. But because once they can tap into everybody's bigotry, it gets somebody on this side and you on that side. And so it becomes an emotional fight over who's had it worse, who's the worst victim, who should get more support, as opposed to just stopping the whole model. And that's what perpetuates and keeps this thing going. Anytime you take something and you put it in a tribal spin, you put it in a Republican or Democrat or religious or racial spin, nothing ever gets done. Nothing. Because then you make it emotional. And this is why I believe those in power are always behind these messages. They're always behind these messages because they spin it. They get ahead of the game and they know how to spin it in a tribal way, like Black Lives Matter. And they'll make sure that it gets spun so not a damn thing changes. They take something that's very important that we got to fix, a model that doesn't work for the world, and they spin it and make it emotional to get you to fight with other people so you don't think about changing. And it's crazy. It's crazy. All right. Poor white people are only there to remind other white people to keep working hard. Ooh. Which is why the elite whites love poor white people. Because they're almost like a stick and a carrot. They're like a cattle prod to the other white people. Keep stepping on their heads to keep moving forward. Same reason the poor black people are there. But Susan, you see things that most people don't see. You actually get it. Same reason poor black people are there. Poor black people are there to keep the middle class black people stepping on their heads and not giving a damn about them. Getting behind crime bills and keeping the prison system going to keep their kids above the poor kids. And that's why I said I grew up and I saw that black privilege. I saw it. I saw it. And the elites love it. Turn the poor against the middle class. All races, all ethnicities, and we either want to stop being played or we want to keep being played. Almost everyone can make it with enough drive and determination. Almost, Ivana, but not everybody. Not everybody. Some people are born and they were born to die. Literally, they were born to be shot by police. And they got mullets, a lot of them got dirty old trucks. A lot of them got the hoopties and pants sagging around their butts and wear boots. Some don't have a chance at all. They were born to be shot the day they were born because they're too poor and they can't. Then they were born in a neighborhood that's being preyed upon by Nazi-ish dragoons hired by politicians on unconstitutional laws to ensure that the prison system has enough beds to fill, and they'll never make it to prison. They get shot after birth. Any system like that's not a society. Any society where children are born and they have no chance, it's not a society. It's a slave camp. Fighting over scraps. Exactly, Tina. That's all it is scraps. The elites, they have, what, 85% of the world's wealth is kept by like less than 5% of the people. So it's all scraps that everybody's fighting over anyway. There are degrees of white privilege. Yep, there are degrees of every privilege, Kelly. Degrees of black privilege, white privilege, American privilege. That's what I'm saying. I don't get into the privilege conversation. It's a very real thing, and it exists. But I'm not going to sit here and argue with anybody about who has the most privilege. We all use privilege. We all abuse privilege. We can either use privilege as a tool, like everything else is a tool, to change the model, or we can use our privilege to fight with other people to get a one-up above them. Because see, if things were reversed and people who were behind the less privilege were ahead of you with more privilege, they wouldn't want things to change either. And that's how it works. That's why I'm saying we walk away from all of it. So I don't debate. I don't do that victim thing, right? Because they teach everybody to fight over who is the greatest victim. And the reality is we're all victims. We're all in a system that's just psychopathically screwed up. Not seeing color and not seeing status symbols are good goals. They have to be, Lori, because as long as you see color, status symbols, and tribal ethnic breakdowns, you're a cattle. You're farmable. As long as you see these groups, you can be farmed. And if you want to be ungovernable, minimally, you got to be unfarmable. If you've already attached to the Redskins, or you've attached to the Cowboys, or you attached to the Oilers. Are the Oilers still a football team? As long as you got a football team and you got a jersey and you see it, somebody can play you. That's a string. That's literally a string. And somebody will eventually be smart enough to know how to pull your strings and make you act like a puppet. That's why I'm saying you have to be blind when it comes to all this nonsense. I've had plenty of black friends not listen to any of my damn challenges because they want to always trump me. F that. They've been indoctrinated to be the victim. And that's the sad thing, Deborah, and that is the sad thing. And it's a shame. And all you can do with people like that, you love people. You gotta love people. And you know what? I'm thankful, Deborah, that I don't have that level of pain. I have a lot of black friends that I like. I got a lot of white friends that I like. I have white nationalist friends. I have friends who have hate, very real hate, but it's hate that I know they should have. Black and white, and Hispanic, and Asian. I have friends who were born into hate, and they're supposed to have that hate. And all I can do is fight for them. That's all I can do. I can't get down with them and play victim. I can't, roll around and do things I know that perpetuate the system and makes it worse. All I can do is fight for them. Some wake up, some don't wake up. But I get where they come from, and their pain is very real. Stick and carrot, perfect picture. Exactly, Brother Don. I'm hitting the reset button on the matrix. Yeah, Tina, we gotta just hit the button. You just hit the button, take the right pill, get out of the puppetisms. Get out of it. Let it go. Let's build a better world. Paul Mooney said, poor white people are a waste of good skin. Oh, Lord. Are we? Poor everybody's a waste of human skin. Poor everybody. Nobody should be poor on an abundant planet. Nobody should have lack. Nobody. It's artificial lack to keep us in conflict. And all this exists because we gave lost our humanity, basic human kindness as collective community. All of this. And it's worse than this, Elizabeth, right? It's that we don't see how bad it really is. We only see little tips of the bad iceberg. We really don't know how bad. The people who have it the worst will never see anything from. They never had a chance. People all types and degrees have done bad things to all of us. Yes, they have, Lori. That's why I say we don't have to play victimism. We've all been done wrong. Everybody's been done wrong. Who's been done wrong worse does not matter. Let's just delete a system that allows wrong. Let's just delete a system that allows oppression. Period. Be done with it. Or we can keep fighting about who has it worse. They didn't include the ugly disadvantage. If you're ugly, take 5 steps back. See, Patricia, you had to go. You always like to go there, don't you? And you're telling the truth. You're telling the truth. But there's so many privileges. You're right, because if you are a pretty looking person, you have advantages. Everybody wants to play with the pretty kid. Everybody wants to hire the pretty person. Everybody wants to see the pretty person around the office. You're right. Everybody wants that good looking guy to walk around, you know, and you're right. If you're ugly, but there's also skinny privilege too. If you're overweight, right? If you're scary looking, if you have a disability, there are all kinds of privileges that we can go through. We could sit here all day, we could list 1 million privileges, right? And everybody's had it bad. You know, there are people who learn to survive based on their environment, because there are people who, like Stephen Hawking, smarter than all of us, best that I can tell, but he didn't let his disability hold him back, and he had just enough privilege in other areas where he could use it and abuse others with it. So he used his intellect. He learned to survive just the way kids in the hood do. They learn how to use knives and guns just the way people in the country do. They learn how to shoot shotguns, right? You know, where people take their disadvantages, and then they'll take their advantages and they'll use their advantages to other people's disadvantage. We can keep that system, even in a violent way, not just in an intellectual way or a college way, get a degree. To me, see, it's no more violent than if you grow up in a poor area and you learn to survive with a gang, to get ahead by utilizing a gang. There's no difference than you utilizing a fraternity to get ahead, right? You don't actually have your hands on the gun and pull the trigger. But poverty pulls the trigger for you. And the fact that you are succeeding using that fraternity to get that great job, it creates a lack. It creates a vacuum. So somebody else has less because now you earn $300,000 a year. Somebody else has lack. You feel better about yourself because you didn't pull the trigger. But in reality, poverty kills. Poverty murders. And that's just a reality I don't think most people want to look at. That's why I said you can't wash the blood off the money. There ain't enough soap on this planet to wash the blood off American money. It's impossible. Corporations don't make a lot of money off poor people, but can take $40,000 a year off incarcerated poor people. Right. But poor people, prison it's a complex. It's a business. Catching slaves has always been a business. That's why the Democrats wrote the crime bill. Yeah. And the Republicans didn't stop them. Why? Because slavery is a great business. It always has been. Capturing slaves and putting them in cages or getting them to farm cotton makes a lot of money. But you got to find somebody that's unpopular. So there's no difference to me when people in the past went to Africa to find an unpopular person to put into slavery. But people all over the world have done that to each other. And then the Democrats did it with the crime bill. They picked very disadvantaged people who were born with not higher up black privileges. They had less privileges. And a lot of poor whites got trapped by the crime bill also. They don't like that. I'm watching that view count go down. I'm waiting for it to go down. It's going to go down. Watch. It's good. It's got to get to the teens. I'm going to watch the view count go down. They don't like it when I say stuff like that, but it's true. It's ugly and it's real, but it's true. See the real ugly world if you really want to make changes. Then get away from these systems. Ethnic privilege is a thing too. I guess it could be, Tina. I'm just trying to figure out how ethnic privilege fits in. Like, you have to be from an ethnicity that there's some relationship to I don't know. I mean, it's a thing. It is a thing. I'm not saying it's not a thing. It is a thing. It's just, it's not the thing you hear on TV. It's not based on skin color, right? It's not based on skin color. Are there some people who give jobs to one skin color or another? Yeah, I guess so, but not in mass, right? Not in mass. I don't get down with that. I don't think people are that evil. I think people are stupid, and some people look and they'll hire certain people because they're more attractive or they look a certain way, or they're indoctrinated to think that ethnicity is more violent or that one's more peaceful or this one's smarter, more intelligent than that one. So yeah, that's the thing. I mean, and that's there. But my point is, I don't dive into that, Tina. Like, I avoid that. The bottom line is privilege exists. Privilege ain't going nowhere. but we can affect whether or not people die for the lack of it. That's where I'm going. Games, American exceptionalism, right, Kevin? American exceptionalism, and I don't have much of an ear for privilege in America, right? Because everything we have is based on murder and death. So we got American privilege, American exceptionalism. You know, it's bad when an American gets shot and there's a mass shooting, but it's okay when everybody else does. You know, so I really don't listen to Americans whine about privilege. I don't care what color, race, ethnicity, where they're from. We all have massive privileges in the West, and we use that privilege to attack somebody else who's got a little more of that privilege, when really we just need to get rid of the privilege system, period. Period. Get rid of it, the whole thing, so nobody is abused by privilege. In the model to where they die. But you're always going to have people born with one leg, people prettier than the other, people this, that, and the other. You're always going to have division to a degree. We don't need to have a system that thrives on dividing people up. Yeah, it is a game, Kevin. It's definitely a game. Game, manifest destiny, divine right. Absolutely. We, you know, talk about it a lot. Beneath all the uniforms are essential energy derived from the same source. That's it, Kevin. People need to see through the skin. They need to see through ethnicity. They need to see through nation and realize we're all just spiritual energy creatures. That's what we are. Put into different little packages. And everybody's phenomenal and they're different. There's 7 billion different type of human beings on this planet. And all of them are phenomenal. They don't need to be grouped by your groups. They don't need to be colored by your colorisms. They're all individuals and they're different. There are nasty, racist people of all races. Yes, there are, Lori. Race. There isms and ists of all types everywhere, because it makes money and it's profitable. Content of character, which is what Martin Luther King said, Lori. But a lot of people like to post on Martin Luther King, but they don't like to believe it. Posting on it's one thing, because if you post Martin Luther King, it makes it look like you're a good person. But actually believing it's about the content of the character, not the color of the skin. So I watch people post Martin Luther King all the time. They post it all the time, and then they go right into the racial fight. But those people, I'm like, yeah, okay. All right, you don't actually believe it. It's like my conservative friends that never read the Bible, that believe in war, Republican Jesus and then Democrat Jesus. You know, so that's when I see contradiction like that, I'm just happy that I don't have that particular contradiction. But I get it, because I used to have a lot of those particular contradictions. I thought Jesus was okay with war when I was growing up as a kid. Back then we called it evangelism. I thought Jesus was okay with war back then because all the adults around me said it was okay. So I figured it was okay. And I grew up and I realized that they were lying, or they were just fools. You're actually not allowed to murder anybody. What you seek is seeking you. Absolutely, Anna. And the oppressed becomes the oppressor. Mama said never trust. Stop, Daniel. Oh, goodness gracious. We're all just privileged Americans. That's all we are, Harley. And people don't want to admit it. You say stuff like they don't like it. I see some angry faces right there on it. They don't like it, Harley. They don't like that. They don't like that. But the reason I got this nice-ish shirt, got some nice-ish pants on and shoes, I'm on the internet, I've got Wi-Fi, I got a truck outside, all of these things is because people died for them. They were stolen, the money was washed, and it ended up in my pocket. And so I'm gonna use all these things that I have instead of saying, oh, I'm such a good person, I'm so smart, I did this. Say, nope. They murdered a bunch of people. I lucked up, Harley. I was born in the right spot. They murdered a bunch of people, stole all of this stuff. I was born in the right spot, and they gave it to me, and they expected me to find pride in what they murdered people for to give me. And it's like, no, I'm not finding pride in that. Like, this is jacked up. It's all jacked up. They're poor people who need a lot of this, you know? And so, but you say it that way, people don't like it. You said it, that's why I see angry faces. Or maybe they're just angry faces because they're agreeing with you that it's wrong. That's probably what it is. They're sharp people here. All right, let's keep going down. Get out of here. Oh, and to your comment, Daniel, Mama said, oh, don't ever trust Whitey. Daniel, don't ever trust anybody. Don't trust anybody based on the color of their skin. Don't trust anybody based on the nation they're from. Don't trust anybody based on their religion. Don't trust anybody for any of those stupid things, because these are all blind following things. And once they got your trust, they'll make you a puppet. So mama was right about that, but you need to expand to all categories. Don't trust anybody for a label. They use those labels to abuse you. This convo will never get truly resolved in the feed, G. Oh, okay, I didn't know what's not getting resolved, Deborah. We didn't resolve something? Somebody post something we didn't resolve. I thought we resolved it. I thought we resolved it. We need to stop supporting psychopaths, being psychopathic, and gross domestic happiness is the right way forward. Try to make other people happy around you. We're all efficient at it because we all got great marriages. Well, some of us, I ain't got that, but I used to have something like that. We all got great relationships. We know how to make people happy. We just choose not to. We all got great marriage or great families. We know how to make kids happy. We just don't want to make our neighbors happy. We don't want to make the country over next to us happy. We don't want to make the next continent happy. Like, I think all of that's, I think it's resolved. If there's a debate of why we shouldn't do that, I don't know what it is. If there's a debate why that's not sentient, I don't know what it is. So I think that's all resolved, Deborah. I could be wrong. And I mean, in my head, I know we should be going towards. Let's see. Or learning how to master throwing knives. Yes, Daniel. We teach the children they need to know how to shoot and they need to know how to throw knives, so they grow up and they do it, and then we blame them. And to me, that's wrong. POC, I hate POCs. I hate that word, Deborah. I mean, you can say it, I'm fine with it, but I'm not a POC. I know Tupac. I'm not any of their categories. I don't fit in anybody's categories. I'm done with people trying to name me and categorize. I'm not categorizable. So, but I get it. You're trying to explain something. So POCs are given permission to have contempt for whites based on skin color, but the reverse is not allowed. How's that working out for us and all getting along, sharing the love? I've done way more of benefit to people of color than whites. It will never be enough. I still suck because of my skin color. But Deborah, you can figure something out. You figured something out. This is why I am the way that I am. Because they abused you. That's really what happened. They abused you. That's why I don't play games with race. This whole white supremacy, black supremacy. I mean, Obama said that for some reasons. He says that because if Obama says it now, it's okay to go attack white people for white privilege, which is really stupid because you have whites that are poorer than blacks in certain communities in this world that are just doing horrible. But it's the abuser mindset, right? I think I explained it in a video a little while ago. It's like the abuser, right? But it's a survival skill. So I will say this, it is a survival skill. But if they can convince you, if a husband can convince his wife that there's something wrong with her, put that guilt trip in there, then automatically she's more prone to accepting abuse. What they did to you is they convinced you that this white supremacy was a thing why you should beat yourself with a pain stick and you should shut up and let them talk first, and you don't know nothing about a person because of the color of their skin. And so you let them beat you with a pain stick, you beat yourself with it, and then what you figure out down the road is that these people weren't seeking equality. They were seeking supremacy. That's why Martin Luther King said the things he did, and that's why the people who invented white supremacy in terms of a label in recent modern history and try to get people out in the streets to fight that, they don't want to be equal to you. They want to be supreme to you. That's why they abuse you with racism. You know, and I think we first started talking about, when I first met you, we were talking about that. You know, it's the mindset of the abuser. But I get it, you know, and that's my position with it. I understand that when you're born in really horrible conditions, you will utilize any tool you can to get ahead. My biggest problem with are the people who utilize that as a tool who are among the black elite. And I don't think people get that. I get it because I grew up with these bastards. I get how evil they are. But what they do is they utilize what's called white guilt to get you to hate yourself. The same way the plantation owners got black folk from Africa, getting them to hate themselves based on their skin. they did the same thing. The oppressed always try to become the oppressor. You just don't let them. You can love people, but you carry your pride with you, not your pride in white skin and not your pride in black skin. Carry your pride in who you are. And don't let anybody abuse you based on that or tell you you're less because of something like that. It's racism. Then they say silly stuff like, oh, there's no reverse racism. Hang on, I gotta plug in. My phone is dying. There's no reverse racism. Oh, yeah, there is. I grew up with a bunch of racist black people. They hated black people, they hated white people, they hated everybody that had something that they wanted. It's just hate. That's all it is. It's hate. It's hate. But it's a survival skill. So that's my approach on it. No, I can't go and fight with black people fighting white supremacy. I don't care nothing about that. I care about getting them out of the conditions that they're in where they're raised to hate white people. That's the problem. And poverty does that. And then get the poor whites who are suffering under black supremacy in some areas and getting them out of the conditions they're in so they don't grow up to hate black people. Like, imagine if we were like all that intellectual, we were all that in the middle and didn't pick any sides and just wanted to help everybody. Imagine how beautiful the world would be if we just focus on gross national happiness, not gross national black happiness. Gross national white happiness, gross national Christian happiness. Imagine that. We didn't focus on gross national Republican happy. All right. That's my point. Anyway, that's my point. For me, it's not a crime. I really don't care what skin color most people being abused are. If anybody's abused, we got a problem. Just one. One is enough. And that's another thing Martin Luther King said. People who pretend they like Martin Luther King. You know, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. But the people who like to say that, they don't talk about the other community. They're only concerned with injustice in their community. You know, I was kind of that way. I think I was that way for a little while. I didn't get it. I was never like extreme indifferent to where I wouldn't look at another community. I think I focused in a certain area. And as I grow up, the older I get, I realize just even the focus on one group of people based on this farming concept and tagging people with colors like cow tagging an ear is why nothing changes. It keeps the conflict going. Emotional manipulation occurs, right, Tina? That's how abusers do it. Haters gonna hate. Courtney, haters will always hate because hate is great. As long as hate is possible, it's profitable. Haters gonna hate. Souls don't have skins. Nope. Only cattle have skin, Lori. Only cattle have skin. Souls, spiritual creatures, they don't have any skin. They almost got to convince you that you're lesser, that you're like a biological. That's it, right? Like you're a mindless monkey. Like they got to degrade you and put you in a race or put you in an ethnicity to get you to act the way they want you to. It's how they attach the puppet strings, right? They can't attach the strings unless you got an ism. You got to have an ism. You got to believe that you're in a tribe or a category to attach those strings to control you. And they got to degrade you to get you to think that way. Don't treat someone with respect necessarily because you respect them, but because you respect yourself. Oh, go on, Teresa. Go on. That's it. That's it. You respect yourself. You love yourself. When you love yourself, you'll love everyone else. Oppression does that. Yes, it does. Which is why, I don't hit on people who are like fighting the white supremacy and fighting the black supremacy. Whatever they're doing, I understand them. I'm more upset with the government that makes them that way through artificial scarcity. That's my problem. So I understand them, so I don't hate on them. I can't fight with them. That's not the fight I'm in. Beneath all the uniforms are essential energy derived from the same source. Yes, we hit that. Let me see, Brother Kevin. That didn't work on the African. Only their children. You cannot kill real pride and self-esteem. Only a mere fabric of its generationally speaking. Yeah, well, you know what? The thing is, my point there, Elizabeth, is you got to have pride in what you are. And if you're African, I don't think you know what you are. If you're American, I don't think you really know what you are. If you're Christian, I don't think you really know what you are. I don't think any of us really know what we are. I think you should be proud of the things that you do, what you accomplish, and where you're going. But I don't think you should be proud of a label given to you by a king or lord. I think that's a mistake. We're always plagued by that. In the trailer park, you're told your problems are because of immigrants and cheap black labor. In the ghetto, your problems are because of white men and nothing gets solved. Exactly, Susan. And really, really, I got to be careful the words I use. People who aren't exposed to more of the bigger picture can't see that. Right? If we were born in those places, then we would believe that too. You know, so all we can do is try to talk to folks like that. Those who get it will get it. Those who can grasp it will grasp it. But we got to continue to fight for them to fix those situations so the next generation doesn't have that, or so that they can wake up. So folks, is anger, sadness, any negative emotions allowed here? Are we all supposed to be so evolved like some of you? Shall I go elsewhere to heal and learn? Geesh. No, Deborah. Deborah, outrage matters, girl. Outrage matters. Show your outrage. Outrage is so important. I don't like hate speech. Hate speech is real. Like, if we can't be real, where are we going to go? If we can't be real with each other, then how are we ever going to learn? If we can't say what's really on our mind, then we're wasting our time. So no, I don't want you to go anywhere, Deborah. I want you to speak your mind. I want people to speak their minds. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time. I don't want anyone censoring themselves. Like, that's the worst censorship. Like, you can talk about Facebook censorship. You can talk about Google censorship. None of that censorship is more damaging than when you self-censor. You got to say what you really feel so we can have a real discussion, right? That's how we get somewhere. I'm back. I had to grab some water. Can't keep a good okra warrior. How did you get me, punk? I love you, Justin. You got me, man. I was reading comments and he then snuck okra in there real quick. I saw the picture. It's like, wait, but is that Samuel Jackson? And I started reading it, and you got me. All right, he got me to say okra. I was trying to avoid that okra cuss word, but I was trying to avoid it. But he got me. Racism will always be a sensitive topic for certain folks. It will, Harley, it will. And all we can do is love people. That's all we can do. All we can do is, if I were born to be racist, I'd be racist. And if people can admit that, then we can work on fixing as opposed to fighting. We don't need to fight the racists. We need to fight the conditions that allow racism to thrive. And then we evolve to the next level. Jason, makes me sad that you feel such anger. Well, look, Lori, but anger is real. Like, all emotion, all feelings are real. All experiences are valid, and we need to hear them. We need to hear them. We can't censor each other. Facebook is doing a great job of that. So is Google and all the rest of them. And we don't want other people to self-censor themselves. The only way I think we do that is we encourage people to speak and listen. It's hard to do. You know, when I listen to somebody who's like really angry and upset, I've had people cuss me out. I've had people, oh my goodness, oh, you, this, that, and the other, bubba, jibba, jabba, hubba. They just came with, and I you know what? I get it. I get it. I was born to fight and rage for the elite black people. I'm not fighting for the elite black people no more. I don't like them. I love them. I don't like them. I don't like what they got. Nope, they're not supposed to have that. But it creates a lot of anger because the people who are fighting for them, the elite whites or the elite blacks or the elite anybody, they're really indoctrinated to believe this crap. They're really indoctrinated to believe that their betters are supposed to have better, and they attach their identity to the worship of these people. And when you say anything against that, you're shattering their realities, and it creates a lot of anger. I've had people cuss me out. I just try to remain calm. You have to remain calm, give people the information, and just love them. If you can put yourself in their shoes, then I think you can talk to people and accept their outrage, right? But listen to them, right? They're going to throw personal things come up because all of this is emotional. This world is jacked up. But don't take things personally, right? None of it's personal. None of it's personal. Love yourself enough to produce positive outlooks in yourself and others, right, Cheryl? And always gauge yourself on that. If you're having interactions with people and they're going negative, then you might be saying something that, you know, is kind of spurting it on. You know, if you have conversations with people and at the end of it, you may not agree, but if they felt comfortable enough to like share with you some real emotional, personal feelings they've been having, then it's a good thing. It means you're putting off some sort of vibe that they feel they can talk to, and that's a good thing. All right, let me get down. It's getting late. I gotta get out of here. Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. Get him, Earl. Get him, Cheryl. Okra is slimy. Get him, girl. Get him. Get him. Uh-oh, there they go. Oh, shoot. The okra thugs are here. What's wrong with y'all? I appreciate you always speaking your mind, Gerard. It's a rare virtue in this country. Well, thank you, Ivan. I always appreciate you speaking your mind, too. That's how we learn. We speak and have respect enough for each other. Let everybody make their own minds up. You know, like I'm not trying to make anybody's mind up. I'll tell you what I think and I'll walk away. You tell me what you think, I'll walk away. And I might have an epiphany in my sleep like, oh, dang it, Ivan is right. You know, then you come on the next day, I was wrong. Yeah, you was right. Girl, let's move forward. You know, and that's how it's supposed to work. Let people make up their own opinions. Stop beating people over the head, trying to make them believe what you believe. People are happier when you let them solve their own problems. People are happier when you let them make up their own mind. That's a part of gross domestic happiness. Gross national happiness is letting people decide for themselves. You don't have to decide for them. I know you're real smart. I know you're smart. You got it all figured it out. Everybody got those friends. They know every damn thing. They ain't got it all figured out. You know, life is a train wreck, but they got it all figured out. They know everything. Wife at home got the bags packed. She's leaving tomorrow, but they got it all figured out. You know, and they gonna tell you everything, make up your mind for you. And it's silliness to me. But we're all growing, we're all evolving. It just works better when we do it together as opposed to inside those. Okra is essential for life, all life. Michael, that is not true. That is hashtag fake news. It is absolutely not. It does not go in my body. I have not been sick in a very long time. I'm sorry, I have to disagree. Does it have medicinal properties for some human beings? For me, it just gives me the bubble guts and it just, all right, I'm done. I don't know how y'all get me talking about okra. Stop. Oh my gosh, y'all still go. I'm like having to go down 20 comments to get back people trying to get me to a poor society. I'm not reading the comments, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm not. Let me see. A poor society. We're supposed to be talking about happiness. Stop talking about some damn okra. What's wrong with y'all? A poor society, poison like fluoride, racism is fluoride. Ooh, a poor society, poison like fluoride, racism is fluoride. That's an interesting analogy. I gotta think about that for a little bit, because like they put fluoride in the water, put racism in the society, it creates problems, destroys with the villi in your stomach, destroys your gut bacteria, takes away your common sense, takes away your logic. It's definitely an infection. It's definitely an infection. And I'm all about let's treat the infection, not fight the infection. I think there might be a difference. We have to love each other till we all love ourselves. You can't stop hating anger with more hate and anger. You can't, Susan, and we've said that time and time again. But as soon as people say that and they post that for Martin Luther King, they'll run out there and start fighting. They pick up their hate sword. They say, we gotta stop the hate. No, where's my hate sword? I gotta go fight some people I hate. It's not funny, but I laugh about it. I live in Massachusetts, MA, I think that's Massachusetts. My ancestors here, 13 generations. I think racial integration is more natural and healthy elsewhere. May really be time to get out. Well, you know, Deborah, in certain communities, the isms thrive. I avoid communities where isms thrive. I don't like being around those people. I love them, but I don't like being there. I go home to Washington, D.C., I can't stay. I go home, I love them people to death, but I can't stay. They're too focused on the isms. You know, like the farm is too prolific there. The human farming isms thrive in the Washington, D.C. area. It's probably because of the Washington Post. I don't know. I can't stay there too long because everything is about this people to that people. What do you think about this people? I'm like, you know, that's a racist question. I don't think anything about this people. There are no this people, and they can't grasp it. But I think there are different areas that do better with that than others. It might have something to do with the politicians and governing in that area. I don't know. Let's direct our, oh, goodness gracious. That's how I know it's time to go, because every third comment is an okra one. If they divide us, they can conquer us. Exactly, Brother Justin, we are stronger together. We are all stronger together. And we're all together whether we like it or not. We can fight each other or we can work together, but we're all together because we're not them. It's a big club and ain't none of us in it. My white husband, my white sisters, they have hurt me the most in my life. And I'm sorry to hear that, Lori, but I think they say that's a saying, right? Those closest to us are the ones who hurt us the most. It had nothing to do with their skin. It's just because they were close. That's it. Oh my gosh, y'all serious? What the hell? Kelly, did you start that? Everybody cussing. Anna, you see this? What y'all cussing? All right, this is how I know I gotta go. We were talking about gross domestic happiness. I'm getting trolled by Oakland people. All right, I gotta go. Let me see. Good morning. Good morning, Christine. Activist. Sorry, no smiling today. Too sad. I'm sorry, Christine. You need to smile today. We do need some gross domestic happiness. They're trying to make me smile by constantly posting on this nasty food. Hold on. Wait. Keep us in hypnosis. Right. They do, Elizabeth. They do. The media does that. It's all a choice. Yes, Lori. Our world is all our choice. Our future is all our choice. We all get kicked, Lori. Yes, we all do. They're kicking the hell out of me right now with this nonsense about okra. That's right. Yes, Brother Michael. Choose love, choose happiness. Yes, Lori, I see. All right, different types of cultures used to be an interesting topic. Now we are narrow-minded and everything is racism. Exactly, Elizabeth. And this is I love culture. I love culture. I love culture. I love it. I love old Irish culture. I love old British culture. I love African cultures. I love, you know, like it's such a phenomenal thing, but I think it's something that we all need to celebrate. And somehow it becomes this, oh, this is mine. You can't have, this is mine. You can't have this one. You can't have dreadlocks. you can't wear this color. This is my color. This is cultural appropriation. You know, they come up with all of this nonsense, and I don't have time for that. I love all cultures. I celebrate them. I'm related to all those people, so I really don't care what you think. That's really what it comes to. You ever catch me like celebrating Italian history? Be like, well, you're not Italian. Well, I don't care. The people who started Italy, I'm related to them, so I don't really care what you think. But I'm Italian. I don't really care. I know I can kind of see that, but I don't care. I'm related to the people who started that culture. This is why I tell white folk all over this planet. You're related to every single black person in Africa. All of them who started every single culture. You need to be out there celebrating. You want to wear you a dashiki, you want to get you some dreadlocks, go do that. If you are dark-skinned and you want to go get yourself blue eyes and blonde hair and celebrate something else, then you go do that. Do you, boo, and ignore these foolish people. It's just stupid. You're related to all of these people, and we definitely need to have pride in the human race. Big time pride in the human race has come a long way. We need to have pride in the human race. Damn it, we turn the clock back in too many places, but we have come a long way. Let me see, we could have a racist joke contest for some LOLs. Courtney, we used to do that. Oh my goodness, when I was growing up, racism was not a thing. I grew up in a school, oh man, it just didn't matter. It didn't matter. We had Hispanic kids, we had Asian kids, we had black kids, we had white kids. And we all was the most. Today, it would just be completely unacceptable. You go one day in my elementary school, oh my goodness, you couldn't get half a sentence without having something that they would call racist today. Oh my goodness, we just went at it. But the funny thing about it is we never took ourselves we were never so high on ourselves. We were never so self-approving. We were never so self-centered that we'd be offended. Yes, the mama joke. Who said that? The mama joke. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Mamas turned it, you know what the mamas, when they die and they realize the jokes that the kids said about each other mamas, they turn it over in their grave. We used to just wear each other mamas out. Do you think we worried about race? Oh, your mama was so fat, your mama was so hairy, your mama so stupid, your mama this, your daddy so dumb, your mama ain't got no job, your mama this, that. Like, we would just do anything we could to eviscerate the enemy in the back of the school bus. So no, we didn't take ourselves we weren't so sensitive. If you were sensitive, you were the kid in the first seat on the bus crying the whole time. The whole time. All right, anyway. But I think comedy is a way that we do get past a lot of this nonsense. We have to laugh at the silly stuff. All right, let me get out of here. Y'all all feel in this okra world. I don't live in that world. Let me see. My dad and his black Mexican friends and customers told racist jokes constantly. Right, exactly, Patricia. It was the funniest thing. You know, I used to watch Patricia. I used to watch Archie Bunker. Was it Archie Bunker? Mama's House. We used to watch The Jeffersons. We used to watch even up to The Office. It's just racist. I used to watch What's Happening. I used to watch Sanford and Son. Just racist. It's we just and sure enough, Cal come and sit in. They just going back and forth, black, white, this, that, dumb and crazy, you know. And everybody just laughing, having a good old time. And nobody cared. Nobody cared. But now they've made these kids so damn sensitive. You can't say nothing no more. That's George Jefferson, right, Courtney? Racist as a day is law. Everything was white people this and white people that. George Jefferson, he didn't hold back a thing. And we just, with my white friends, we just laughing. You know, just having a good old time. We laugh about all of this stuff. We didn't take all this stuff so personal. They got us to love ourselves a little too much. They got us to be too approving of our own selves, and that's how they broke us. Oh my goodness, yeah. Correctness is out of control. It's way out of control, everybody. It's so far out of, that's why I don't do political correctness at all. I have no interest. You know, my secret weapon, Ivana, is the fact that I'm related to everybody. I really don't care. I don't care what you think. But it's political correctness, even with gender. Like I said, I really don't care what you are. But I'm a woman. You can't talk for us. I really don't care. I came from a woman. I got a little sister, and I'm related to every woman that's been raped and thrown in a hole since the beginning of time. I really don't care. I'm a stand up for who I need to stand up for, and I don't care what you think about that. That's why I tell my friends, my white friends and black friends who still believe in that race stuff, you stand up for poor people. You stand up for people who didn't have a choice. You stand up for people who didn't have a privilege. Who cares what they look like or where they're from? Because I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of people who look like them, who are from where they're from, that's abusing them. Stand up for people. Always stand up for your family and know that you're related to everybody. They're all your cousins. Stand up for all of them. Don't let anybody tell you can't stand up for somebody. You know, it's in discourse that we solve problems. It's not in, oh, well, you know, you can't speak for those people. There's no such thing as those people, dummy. 7 billion different types of people on this planet. A lot of them real stupid. Happy Meals, evil corporation poison, just my theory. Yeah, Happy Meal, they used to poison us with Happy Meals. They trick us, they put that little toy in there. That's how you get it. You throw a fit, cry, get a spanking for a Happy Meal. But we are indoctrinated for a damn Happy Meal. We'd do anything for a Happy Meal. You were the man, you were the girl if your birthday party was at McDonald's. The clue to our universal oneness is found in our hands. Each finger has a unique function and can move independently. Yet any finger survives separate from the hand? Question mark. Find your unity. That's a good point. We don't survive apart. Apart, Brother Kevin is spot on. Apart, we all die. We don't survive apart. We survive as a hand. A hand can make a fist. A hand can pick something up. A hand can solve a problem. A hand can hold a tool. A finger can't really do much. Yes, that's not my middle finger. I know. I wouldn't do that to you. That's what one finger can do. That's all it can do. It can just show how arrogant and lost it is. But a hand can solve a problem. A hand is like automation and robotics in the future of building a better world, focusing on building and constructing a world with an entire hand that's based in gross national happiness, building governments that actually take care of their people, not abuse and divide their people. There's no black, there's no white. We are humans of color. The world is colorful, even green from okra. What's wrong with you, Cheryl? Don't start off such a positive comment and end it on something disgusting. Exactly what Martin Luther King was really about: equality for everyone. He was, Susan, that's why they killed him. He was about equality. He was about equality. When he started speaking up for the poor whites and he started speaking up for the poor Vietnamese, the wealthy blacks and the wealthy whites got together and murdered him. You know, that's why, like I said, if you really believe what he preached, then believe it and live it. Don't start off on it and just post it on his birthday, but actually live it. He didn't believe in race. He believed in loving everybody. But that's not good for war. It's not good if you love Vietnamese kids. It means the monstrous GDP can't grow unless you're okay murdering Venezuelan or Vietnamese or kids in the Congo. I'm gonna send you a hilarious video. Uh-oh, Tina, better not be no nakedness in it. I don't see no porn. You know, I love humor. I love that's probably gonna be the most racist video on the planet. I know how you work. I know how your mind thinking. It's okay, I laugh at that stuff. I get on the bus, walk to the back of the bus. By the time I sat down, and when I was probably about the age of 9 in elementary school, by the time I sat down in the back of the bus, my Asian friends, my white friends, my black friends, and my Hispanic friends done called me every N-word in the book. They done nailed all of them. I was spooks and jigaboos and sit down, shut up, you know, whatever. And I sit down. You don't take none of it personal. You just think of a mama joke. That's okay, John. Your mama's so fat. She sit around the house. She around the house. You come up with that stuff. We used to call it Jonah. All right. Anyway, I can get out of here. A hand can't work without the brain. No, it can't. Wait a minute. Yeah, it can. I tell Justin, yeah, it can. A hand can't work without a brain. Yeah, it can. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into that. I'm gonna stop right there. I ain't going no further on that one. I disagree with you, brother. Cooperation. Yeah, Lori, moving forward, we can cooperate. We can make a happy world so nobody's pursuing happiness. Nobody should be pursuing happiness. I hate that movie, Pursuit of Happiness. That shouldn't be a thing. Nobody should pursue happiness. Every child born on this planet should be happy. We have the resources to make them happy. We just keep things from them because it makes a lot of money keeping pacifiers from them and food. Look past your own nose. Always look past your own nose. Do something for someone else today. Every day, Tina. Always do things for other people. Work on people's happiness. You know, if you have a nation that can figure out that evolution is focusing on other people's happiness and we should measure gross domestic happiness the same way we do in marriages and families, then that's the world we should be building. We already know that works. Look at marriages. You can take two different people from two different walks of life, from two different cultures, from two different nations, don't even speak the same language sometimes. If they focus on making each other happy, it works. It works. And they can build a home where they can literally sleep in the same bed without choking each other. We can build a planet where nations don't have to choke the hell out of each other if we focus on helping each other and each other's happiness. Manifest your happiness. Absolutely, Tina. You got to manifest your happiness. Manifest your happiness and manifest happiness in others. Happiness is the key. I agree with Bhutan. That is the way forward. We need to be moving towards looking out for each other, making each other happy, but being honest with each other too. All right. That's it. I got to come up with the last word. Y'all ain't got no last word. I ain't got nothing positive to say. Y'all ain't got no last word. Huh? Y'all okra'd out. Y'all tired like, oh, we got okra. All right, so I ain't doing that. But y'all should look up the Bhutanese government. Look up gross domestic happiness. Gross domestic product is a bad thing because product has nothing to do with people. People are not products. They are people. They live and they breathe. And when gross domestic product is the basis of your society can be based in all evil. And damn it, we're not there, but we're getting close. We are getting close. Do what makes you happy, not what the predators tell you you need to be happy. Exactly, Susan. They prey upon us. We need to agree to disagree on certain things and move on. United we stand, divided we fall. That's it. Agree to disagree. Enjoy your life. Keep it simple. And do not call names. Okay, Lord, in case it's not funny. If it's not funny, don't. If it's funny, yeah, I'm okay with names. It's not funny, you know. Hemp is the way. Yes, Brother Kelly. Hemp is the way. Much love, everybody. All right. Much love, everyone. We're going to end on that. Much love, everyone. Much love. Wish people happiness. Wish them love. Show them love. And conflict world goes away. Conflict world sucks. Let's move past it. It's Gerard. Got to get going. I don't even know what today is. Wednesday? Got a lot of work to do. It's hump day? Is hump day Wednesday? Hump day. Let's get to humping. Anyway, listen, this is Gerard. I got to get going. Love y'all to death. Y'all have a great day. Try to make your world a little happier. Speak the truth. Help people. Reclaim your humanity. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.